On this week's episode, we discuss fan culture, feces in plain food, and a whole lot more. Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of the second season of Ouch Potato. We are back. My name is Ben, and joining me as always is Josh.
Hey
How
Ben,
are you, man?
I'm really good. I'm absolutely ecstatic to be back. There's been a big hole in my life since this podcast left me for a short amount of time, and I feel like I'm a whole person again now that we're both back together.
Do you know, I feel that you're being sarcastic, but you sound genuinely chipper. So I don't know what to think. Maybe you are happy you're back. Who knows?
Of course I'm happy. It's the podcast. Ouch
That's
Potatoes,
true.
season 2.
Woo! Everyone has been. I mean, I don't know about you. You probably get bombarded with tweets that you don't see, but I've been like getting loads of tweets ever since we did the last episode.
Well, that's because it's the only thing in your life that people are interested in. So I wouldn't be surprised.
That is true. Hey, I tell you what, I had an Instagram post the other day that got 500 likes. So, you know.
Well, you know what? What was that post, Ben?
It was an engagement post, a proposal.
Congratulations to Ben, everyone. He got engaged.
Thank
and then
you.
moving on.
Yes, moving on. Right.
So also, I hope everyone likes the bells and whistles.
Yeah, we've got a bit more money involved this time, because I should tell everyone that this episode is brought to you by the Slogan Man merch store at shop.sloganman.com.
Yeah, we got our first sponsor. Oh, sorry. I'm not supposed to talk over the sponsor as the sponsor gets really mad.
Bit. Yeah, we're going to lose out. But so, I mean, if you want to get some swag and look just as cool as Josh, you know where to go. Shop.sloganman.com. If you are a legit company that does want to actually get involved in sponsoring us, you can always contact us.
Are you trying to say that Slogan Man merch is not legit?
Well, I mean, it's legit, but I don't know how legit the sponsorship is.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm going to take that as a stab in the back, but moving on. If more legit companies want to sponsor us, then say hello.
Yeah, please reach out. But anyway, how you been? It's been a while. I haven't spoken to you in, God, how long's it been since the last episode? I don't even know, but long enough.
It's been months. Luckily, our channel, I believe, is still there. We have checked, right? The Ouch Potato channel
still there. We're actually still YouTube partners, so we survived that whole thing that YouTube are doing. So
that's one of the things about the way that we use this podcast. Is a bit different to normal podcasts you guys might listen to. We're available on the normal places, I believe. Ben, correct me if I'm wrong.
We might be,
but our main place to upload this podcast is YouTube, and so with our new kind of dynamic with this podcast, we're trying to adjust it slightly to more embrace YouTube.
Yeah. So if you want to interact with us and have any input in the podcast, you should come to the YouTube channel and join in the comments section. It's a nice place to be.
Yeah, and anywhere else that we use. But
I mean, I'm saying if they're listening, come over here. And I mean, if you can tweet us if you want, but I mean, Josh he will ignore you. So
probably.
I just drop a comment in the YouTube channel. That's probably the best way. Sound fair?
Yeah, sounds like a good plan. So what else have you been up to then, Ben?
Well, I mean, I did just get back from a business trip in New York. That was fun.
Ben came to visit me. He likes to call things business trips to make him feel more important than he is.
That is true. Yeah.
So,
but I mean, it was that business trip that brought this return of Ouch Potato upon us.
Yeah. So I bought him flights to New York, and then he used that to make it look like a cute trip to get engaged on. So basically, I paid for your engagement.
Well, I mean, technically, yeah. I mean, if you still owe me for the ring, but I mean, we can talk about that after.
Well, the ring was cheap.
Well, that's not true and quite offensive, Josh. But anyway, but while I was in New York...
Wow, you're quickly moving on from that, Ben. But all right.
Definitely, yeah. While I was in New York, there was a big talking point in the UK, which is a mass shortage of chicken, specifically Kentucky Fried Chicken, which I am very glad I was in the US for, because I like KFC.
I'm glad you're taking the opportunity for our first episode of the second season of Ouch Potato to be talking about complaining about chicken.
Hey, it's not just chicken, it's KFC, man.
I'm glad that you're taking this opportunity to, tell everyone the real problems in the world.
Hey, people called the police about it, man. Like one woman called the police because she was so infuriated that she had to go to Burger King instead of KFC. So it was bad times, and it was still in effect when I came back. I haven't been to KFC yet, but I did go to a different restaurant, ask for some wings, and they were all out of wings. So I don't know if there's actually a chicken shortage crisis in Britain right now, but it's not good. It's not good. I mean, you're lucky. You're not here.
So what happened with the chickens? Did they escape?
No. Apparently they were all safe and tucked in the warehouse. But they KFC signed a new deal with a new company to deliver their chickens, and someone messed up, and the chickens never made it to the restaurant. So they literally had to.
Ben, I think you're not realizing the bigger question here. No one gives a damn about not having enough chicken for you to eat. Where did the chickens go? These are the questions that need answering, because where did they escape?
Yeah, well, they didn't escape. But
you don't know that. You don't know.
That's what
how many chickens?
We were told,
how many chickens were there?
I believe at least.
You don't know. You don't know how many chickens there were.
I know roughly.
So how do you know that some didn't escape? At this point, you know what I think's happened. That generic movie scene where someone escapes from prison by leaving a dummy in their bed.
Oh yeah.
When they get around to signing the contract or whatever happens, I think they're going to go to the chicken factory and then realize that they had the chickens had made a bunch, 200,000 fake chickens.
Wow.
And left them in the warehouse, and maybe this already happened and this is the reason for the shortage.
Yeah.
And the chickens managed to escape. And that's how this whole thing happened. But that's embarrassing for KFC, obviously, or whoever supplied it. So they wouldn't say that. What sort of company would come out and be like, our chickens escaped?
Do you know? I've always wanted to do a conspiracy theory podcast, and I think we're there now. I think it's a very good theory. I think it was actually all a big marketing.
Well, I just find it funny how you call it a theory, but you don't actually know. So I don't know.
Well, that's why it's a theory, But I've never wanted KFC more, and a lot of other people are the same. You always want what you can't have. So yes, they had to shut almost all the KFC stores in England, but now everyone wants it. So
maybe
mistake marketing. Who knows?
Whatever. Anyway, what's up? What's next?
Oh man,
what's next in the catch up of what Ben's been up to in his busy life?
I have to talk about this. This boils my blood, right? So I live in a small apartment building. There's 5 apartments.
Do you not think you should be asking me about what I got to, or just listing off all of your issues?
I'll pretend to care about that in a minute, Josh. But
do you not think it would have been nicer to be one thing for Ben, one thing for Josh, one thing for Ben?
I mean, if you want it, have you got anything to talk about?
Yeah,
go on, go for it.
Rudy, my dog.
I do.
He's a good boy.
Who I should also point out you didn't introduce me to when I was in New York, which is quite rude.
He's got he's got a certain standard of person that he likes to hang out with. That's
fair enough.
Anyway, so he's been violently sick. And there was he's all right now. Okay. I don't know. We took him to the vets and he's fine. But there's one thing that he's started doing on when we're walking, because he knows that if we catch him eating anything, that we're gonna whoop him. He knows that he's gonna get that yanked out of his mouth,
right?
Or pulled away. So he knows if he starts chewing on anything while we're taking him for a walk, then he's a goner. Because obviously we usually walk him around a busy city, so there's a lot of stuff on the floor.
Ooh.
So if you're eagle eye if he sees anything. Now I was taking him out for a walk the other day, and I had my eye on him. He didn't do anything, and then basically when I got into the elevator, I looked at him and he was making a weird face, a weird expression to me.
I can't imagine a dog making a weird expression.
Well, they basically the way it works is his mouth was at a weird amount. It wasn't fully closed. But he was not really sure. It just looked odd. But I didn't really think about it. And then I walked to the apartment, and when I walked into the door, Alyssa was there. And then I look at Rudy, and his mouth is you can tell he's wanting to pant, but he didn't want to open his mouth, so his teeth are gritted. And I realized that I'm has he got something in his mouth?
No.
And then Alyssa grabs him and opens up his mouth. A full fucking bread roll rolls out of his mouth. He had picked it up somewhere on the walk and had managed to keep it inside of his mouth, but not chew it because he knew that I was watching him the whole time. Yes. And he was trying to sneak it in so that he could go somewhere else in the apartment and eat it. A full legend. Bread roll.
What an absolute legend.
Did you let him eat it? No, I mean, that stuff can make him worse. No wonder he's
just
sick.
a bread roll?
Yeah. Well, he's got a very sensitive stomach at the moment.
Oh, does he have to have
but like anything on the streets, you can't give him because it might have rat poison on it. Like,
oh yeah.
So, but
that's amazing.
He's getting so smart, like, to figure that out.
Bread rolls are pretty nice, to be fair.
Not rat poison bread rolls.
I've never had a street bread roll, but wow, bless him. Well, he's better now though, right?
Yeah, he's been much better recently.
Okay. That's good. That's fine. Then.
He's a cheeky boy. Anyway.
Yeah, he's a cheeky boy.
Tell me about your neighbours then. What's been happening?
Oh, right. With your neighbours? Okay. So we live in this 5-apartment building, and we got some new neighbours above us a couple of months back. They were a little noisy, banging doors. I mean, because the guy who used to live up there before us used it as an office, so he was never here. So it was great silence, right? Bit noisy, but it was fine. Anyway, new ones moved in down below now. Again, the guy who lived there below was hardly ever there, so it was just a nice, quiet place. Now, one of my biggest pet peeves is inconsideration for others. It drives me nuts. And these guys the other day, they had just literally like a couple of friends over. It wasn't many, just like 2 or 3. And they would not shut the hell up. They were having like some sort of housewarming till 4 in the sodding morning. And their living room is under our bedroom. So I had to actually I found myself laying in bed thinking, am I just being old man now, getting really annoyed about this? Which I'm sure you will say yes. But we got to 4 in the morning, and eventually I just kind of got out of bed and started stomping my feet on the floor, completely like Mr. Heckles from Friends, if you've ever seen Friends. And surely enough, they shut up after that. But I don't know. Do you care about noise?
I've never been in a situation where that's been a problem for me.
Really?
Like the apartment I'm in at the moment is like there's no upstairs neighbors. There's no. I only have one neighbor on one wall, if that makes sense.
Nice, yeah.
And it's a brand new building, so the floors are solid. Like I would never hit anything below me. But yeah, I've never been in that position. So I can't. I cannot relate. The only thing that I can probably relate to is like the apartment. Like one of the first apartments I ever lived in. I had a neighbor who was like an older lady. That was it. One neighbor to the apartment. And I was loud as hell. That she could hear it. But she was like happy. Like she, used to make me dinner.
Wow.
Like come around with like dinners and stuff. And she just was like, "Oh, it's lovely to hear you recording because I know that you're safe and sound."
Oh, that's cute. She wouldn't say that if she lived next to Geordie, but
probably not. But then again, like when I only recorded, I fully told her what I did, and I recorded, and I never had parties because I'm super boring. So like I never would record any other time other than like around midday-ish. It's just when it wasn't a big deal. She could just turn the TV up. So I mean, it's just the only thing. Yeah, I've never done anything like had a party or anything like that would go that late. So
this year we're hopefully buying a house, and I'm petrified that we'll buy a house, move in, and find out like the neighbours are rowdy or something, and that's it. You've bought it, then you're screwed. It's not like you can just up and leave. So yeah, I've got a bit of anxiety about that, but I guess we'll see.
Well, that's just the fun parts of life, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess we'll talk about it on the podcast when that happens, if it happens. Hopefully it won't. But
don't worry, guys, you won't miss out.
Exactly, I'll keep you guys up to date. Don't worry. Speaking of you guys, why don't we jump onto some of the comments we had on the channel from last time we podcasted. What is the word for what we're doing? What we do? Broadcasting? Podcasting?
No idea. I don't know.
Okay, great. Let's move on. Sorry if I pronounced any of these wrong, by the way, but Mango B22. Says a live podcast would be more interactive. You can receive more questions and be more relatable to the moving subject.
By the way, so the way this works is that, like I said, we're trying to have you guys more involved in the podcast. So basically what Ben's doing right now, which he did a terrible job explaining it, is he's going to be reading out some of the questions you guys had. We're not going to really be answering things. This is more of a section to be like having a quick chat, or even just literally just shouting out a few of you guys.
Yeah. Maybe comment on stuff you've said.
Yeah. Like this isn't as you guys will feel out through this episode, we're trying not to explain how the episode works because we want people to be able to listen to this, whenever they want, and listen back to it if they start listening in a few episodes. But yeah, so like there will be a bit more of a structure to this. So we will be doing a more in-depth discussion about some stuff later in the episode. And we also got some like games and stuff like that. But yeah, so right now we're just going through a couple of cool comments that you guys left.
Yeah. As far as a live podcast goes, I mean, back in the first season, we could have done that because that was very lightly edited, so we could have just free-flowed it. But with all the new bells and whistles with this one, thanks to shop.slogoman.com, probably not a thing.
It's just, I think the thing is that right now, we've always said if it becomes like a bigger thing, it's something we could do. But right now, it's not really in our scope. But if you guys keep supporting the podcast, keep coming back, and keep saying hello, then maybe it's something that could happen in the future. You never know.
It's true. Oxygen YT asks, has Ben shat the bed since the start of Ouch Potato?
Oh, good question.
It's a very valid question. If anyone didn't listen to season 1, I did regale Josh with a story of how I soiled the bed once. And I don't believe I have. I've come close, but I don't think I've actually done it.
It concerns me that you say you don't believe in the way that it's like you might have dropped one in there and then like it's sunk.
I think like I had a very close call where I suddenly woke up about to shit and managed to get up and run to the toilet. It was fine. So no, I don't think I have. But okay. Nathan Spear says, get this podcast on Spotify. Right, we are going to do that. It is under evaluation right now. You can't just do it straight away. You have to wait. So I've put it forward. We are getting it underway. And that's another thing I want to bring up. We're also going to be pulling it off SoundCloud. Because
rip SoundCloud. So you guys are going to have to listen to it. If you guys want to listen to it on the go, you'll have Spotify. If you guys want to listen to it like...
They got iTunes too.
Properly. Oh yeah, and iTunes. If you guys want to listen to it like, and interact with it, then come over to YouTube.
We're not doing questions, are we? So
not really. Just an update on things.
I think this one's pretty good, because we can ask, is Josh always going to bully Ben in the future? Probably.
Yeah, I feel like they're asking because they're scared I'm not going to. Don't worry, we'll keep up with that. Don't worry.
We've still got that dynamic. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. This is actually a good question. I think we should, because we talked about this in New York actually. Two Pump asks, what do you think about how phones can take just as good pictures as cameras?
Isn't this a question that we'd have in like a topic?
It is, but
Ben's going to take some time to really fit into his.
Yeah, I'll still
figuring out what questions are. So,
but it is a good. I mean, do you want to save it for another?
Yeah, maybe we'll save that one, guys.
We'll save that.
So yeah, so the section here is just to go over what you guys have been saying, what's been going on, and then we'll move into the rest of the podcast.
Yeah, remember, if you guys do have any comments, not questions, just comments, then do the thing in the comments section. If you're not on YouTube, come over to YouTube and drop a comment down, or you can tweet us. Links are in the description. So this next section is going to be more of like a freestyle section. It's going to change up every week. It's not going to necessarily follow a formula. Is that a good description, Josh, do you think?
Yeah, that's a good description. We want you guys to contribute to what we can do here. We can play some mini games, or we can talk about some specific things, or we can even talk about more in depth in some like drama or stuff. Like, this is a section that will be changing each week. You guys can let us know what you want us to do. But today we've got something quite interesting, I think.
Well, yeah. I mean, recently in the UK, there was like it's a storm called the Beast from the East. I think it came from Siberia or something like that, and it brought a lot of snow to the UK. And for anyone outside the UK, we don't really get snow here, in the majority of it anyway. So we're not really sure what to do when it happens. We just get snowed in, basically. And this was probably one of the worst times we've had in a while. And there was all these stories about all the supermarkets being sold out of bread and milk and all the essentials because people were just like panic buying, and they even had to call the police in some stores because people were like fighting.
By the way, this is nothing special. Like, the snow is nothing special.
No,
it's just simply
we don't know how to handle it. We haven't got things in place.
UK
to like plow
people just don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a story. Granny dubbed hero for the essentials she bought during the whiteout, and basically, like I say, most people are going to buy milk and bread and maybe microwave meals and stuff like that. But this lady didn't. She went into the shop and she bought 3 bottles of wine and 40 cigarettes. Yeah. So I mean, I don't really know if that's the best thing to get.
That sounds like she's done.
She's probably at that age where she's just like, do you know what? I'm old enough. I'm going to have a bit of fun.
It sounds like she's just sat there, read the news and going, well, that's it for me. So she's like, I'm going to go to the store, buy the essentials and just ride this out. It's been great world, but
There wasn't
Granny
a follow
out.
up, but I would have loved to have known if she actually survived it. Because as we all know, elderly are more vulnerable anyway.
How much do elderly people drink? I've always wondered this.
It's a good question. I think they actually tend to, like my granny before she passed. I was gonna say she liked the wine a little bit. You know,
But like, do they drink like multiple glasses, or is that just?
I think it obviously varies, but I think they are more partial because, like I say, you get to a certain age and you're just like, you know, it's cool. Like, you know, during your younger years, you think, well, I probably shouldn't smoke because I might get cancer. When you're older, you think,
You're generalizing pretty heavily.
Oh, massively. But you know, like I think that's a pretty good attitude to have. You know, when you hit a certain age, you just think, I really don't care anymore. If I go, I go. It's cool. I'm just gonna do what I want. You know.
Well, all right. So here we go. I mean, what would you bring then?
Ooh, if
you were in a situation where you were snowed in, like we'll play a little bit of a game. You're limited to 6 things.
6?
Now you can have multiples of those individual things.
Okay.
But you're allowed 6 things, and like I'm talking about like the rules. You know, just to set a few boundaries. Like, you're allowed Amber, like your girlfriend.
Oh, that
you're
counts
allowed.
as one. Oh wow.
No, it doesn't count as one. Like that's all.
Oh, so I can have that. That's fine. Right.
That's all assumed that you have that.
Great.
But it's like anything that you buy regularly. What would that you might have run out of, or things that you might want if you were stuck for a long amount of time that you don't already have? What would you go and get?
Okay. Well, I will immediately start off with bread and bacon because I love bacon sandwiches.
Okay. So already that's
2.
All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say a couple each and then tear each other holes in each other's. Okay.
Sounds good.
So with the bacon, right?
Yeah.
How much are you thinking into the fact that bread and bacon both go off?
Well, they normally have a few days on them.
Bread is gonna go off in like a couple of days, and you could be white. You could be white out for like a day or 2.
Yeah, but I could freeze.
A week or 2.
I could freeze it. It's good. It's fine.
What if you lose power?
Well, that's a whole.
I know that's
factor.
throwing a wrench into it, but like, you don't know.
I mean, that's
a risky thing to do.
You've scuppered my plans now. Well, I mean, all right. Skip the bread. I've just eaten bacon on its own. It's fine. I can still.
You don't get to remove things.
Oh, really? It has to stay on? Okay, fine. I'll have moldy bread then.
All right. Well, that's just saying. All right. So for me, the first thing I think that I would do is because the thing is like everyone buys bread. I noticed that like I was reading something about the fact that all like British people, they seem to devour the bread section in an aisle whenever there's. Now I get that because the snow's not going to last long, is it?
Yeah.
But like realistically speaking, you want to be going for. See, this is the thing. Is like because Alyssa, she doesn't eat gluten, right? Mm-hmm. Gluten-free bread lasts weeks.
Oh, interesting.
It does the same thing. If anything, it's a little bit worse for you. That's what I would go. I would go straight for the because if I'm trying to get bread, like if you're going to say bread, okay, I'll get bread. I'd go straight for the gluten-free aisle. That doesn't even need to be kept anywhere. Not like it's usually just on an aisle somewhere separate. It takes like if you white it out, like it's fine. I mean, I eat it and it's fine.
Oh, okay.
It's not as fluffy, but that stuff lasts like 3 or 4 weeks unrefrigerated. Like, well, it's just shoved in the fridge.
That's pretty mad.
Cold, not even in the freezer.
I'll have to try that stuff out.
Yeah, there's no point in trying it out if you don't need it. But that's one thing. I'd be pretty. No, it's not really. It doesn't really. It's just healthier in different places, but not so healthy in other places. I think that you'd be better off maybe going and getting a pig, Ben, rather than bacon. In retrospect,
what, a live pig or
yeah?
Oh wow!
Because then think about it. You can keep it until you need it.
That's true, but then I might form a bond with it. Come on, pigs are quite cute, especially piglets. I could. Right. I don't want a piglet. Actually, I wouldn't get much bacon off that. But anyway, what was the second thing you get?
What would I get? See, the thing is like I would technically just get as much food and water as possible. So I'm trying to think of more like, I mean, generally speaking, we can both say we'd get food and water.
Yeah.
Right. Sure. So that's 2 things.
Yeah.
So a third thing that I would get, a shovel.
Oh, that's quite a good idea, actually. Yeah.
And probably, you know what I've heard is like quite a smart thing?
Go on.
Hair dryers.
Ooh.
Because the thing is with hair dryers is that it allows you to melt ice that you sometimes can't have access to. Like when people have ice around their door frame sometimes.
Right.
You can't really get like a crowbar into the frame.
True.
And it like helps you to like apparently I saw something about that where you can buy like a bunch of hair dryers because they just connect into electricity as long as you're receiving electricity. Electricity is something that you don't need to be connected to the mains to even get.
True. Although it's power hair dryers, I found out in New York, it could be an issue.
True. But no, potentially that.
That's interesting.
So that's two things.
But again, I am going to throw the spanner in the works like you did. Power outage, you're screwed. Hair dryers are a lost object. So
yeah, well, that's why I get the shovel as a backup.
Yeah, that's fair. The shovel's a good choice. I think I would probably go for a like a brush cotton bed set. Like a duvet cover and stuff.
But isn't your bed set like fine as it is? I think that's not really a big deal.
I think. I mean, I've only got one brush cotton. The other
probably because Ben's gonna shit the bed, so he can't go out for spare.
There you go, you're screwed. I need to go. I'll chuck a mattress protector on there. That'll be a good one to have.
That's the thing with Ben is that he's got like a limited time anywhere because eventually he will shit enough beds that you'll run out of stuff to sleep on.
Sorry to David at Airbnb for the New York bed, by the way.
So that's a bit of an issue for Ben, I guess. I luckily, touch wood, don't have that.
I don't know. I think you had a bit of an issue like not so long ago. Luckily, you didn't shit the bed, but if you'd have been asleep, I think you may well have done. So,
see, I don't think that. I think you might have a loose anus because if I ever get to that point, I think I'm into the bathroom.
Well, they say if you've got like a clean conscience, you just sleep really well. Maybe I've just got a really clean conscienced asshole.
Who says that, Ben? Who says that?
It's a known fact. Clean conscience, you sleep really well. You don't wake up during the night because you're not stressed. Maybe it's just because I'm so chilled.
I sleep super heavily.
Do you really? Well, maybe you have a clean conscience then.
And I've murdered at least 3 people.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Right, so a mattress protector. That's my next one. Right. I think that's. I almost feel it's important enough to add 2 of those on, but I'm not going to ruin the space. I'm just going to take 1. I don't even know how many things I bought now. I've got bread, bacon, water, and a mattress protector.
Food. Yeah, I mean, food, drink. Maybe we won't stick to 6. I'm just trying to think of any other ideas that there are of things I wouldn't have that I would like suddenly need.
I mean, if it was at this point, and the last whiteout that happened just here, I would have definitely stocked up on some chickens so then I could have, sold them.
That's a good point. Yeah. Well, good callback there.
Okay.
I think also like maybe we'll get some like seeds, grow a garden on the roof. If it gets that bad.
That's not a bad shout, actually. Although, would the garden not be ruined by all the snow and the blizzard and everything?
Wait, does it keep snowing?
Well, I mean, it could do.
That would make sense.
It could do.
I guess if you're stuck inside, then it's going to keep snowing. Otherwise, you'd be like...
I'll just get the shovel and go out.
Shoveling out.
Yeah, take the pig for a walk.
So, a shovel, an umbrella.
Umbrella, good shout. Yeah, that's a good shout.
You need a lead for the pig.
Yes, obviously. And a sparkly collar. Does the pig want little booties, or does it have hooves, so it's fine? Or
I think it'll probably be fine. Okay. I'm trying to think of anything else. I think to be honest with you, that I'd probably do quite well in that situation.
Would Rudy and a pig get on?
Oh, I wouldn't have a
pig.
Oh,
you wouldn't have a pig.
Really much need for me to have a pig. But I didn't really think of that though. I forgot about Rudy. Man, it'd be tough to take a dog for a walk in a snowstorm, wouldn't it?
I also read an article the other day that said that the grit they use on the roads and pavements can burn through dogs' paws.
Really?
Yeah, apparently it's got
because it's salt.
Yeah, it's got some stuff in it, and there's a picture of a poor little pup's sore paw. It's horrible.
Aw.
Yeah. So there you go.
It's really cute. It's really cute. Whenever there's snow and I take Rudy out, he will walk. When he walks in the snow, he gets frozen toes, so he always comes out hopping. It always looks like he's hurt himself, but he's just got a really cold foot, so he has to
funny.
hop around. And he just goes straight back in. By the way, he doesn't learn from it at all. I've never seen an animal get excited or upset in the same way that a dog does about weather.
Yeah, it's true.
You never see a flipping I don't know, any other animal. You never see a cow. I mean, you actually no. Then again, I have seen videos of cows jumping around,
cows
going
like
crazy when it's like. No, I've seen them in like the sun, like when it's like blaring sun, they like go like crazy.
Huh? Never knew that.
There's nothing better than seeing animals that are happy.
That is true. Well, I mean, I can't remember. You're not a vegetarian for that reason, are you? Or are you? I can't remember.
I don't really know. I do think that I do. Recently, I've had like a much bigger appreciation for how freaking cool animals are. Like, think about it. Like, they don't, affect anything. They don't negatively affect anything. They're just chill.
Mm-hmm.
They're just happy. I want to be like that.
I remember because you're a pescatarian, aren't you? So you eat fish. Yeah. I remember when you told us on the podcast. I remember just thinking, right, so I love animals, but fuck the fish. I don't care about the fish.
It's not even really like that. It's more a case of just like it's balancing like selfishness versus like
you just love salmon.
Selflessness. No, it's just I feel like I would have a better lifestyle if I eat fish.
Well, it is good for you.
But I don't think because I enjoy fish. Oh. Like I enjoy it in my meal, and like I don't think I would enjoy my diet if I didn't have fish. Whereas I think I can, and I think as I have been experiencing, I can like survive without anything more than that happily. I just don't think that I'd be pretty happy with my diet anything different than this, and I'm happy with that like balance.
That's interesting.
Does that make sense?
Would you ever punch a fish in the face?
For what reason?
I'm just asking. Like how against fish you are that you'll eat them. Would you punch it in the face?
Would you punch a pig in the face?
Well, no, we've established pigs are quite cute. There's nothing cute about fish.
But it doesn't, just because there's nothing cute about her. Ben, you're not very cute. It doesn't mean I'd punch you in the face.
Gosh, I am very cute. What are you on about?
You're not very cute. You're a hairy old man.
I'm a hairy stud. That's what I am.
But you see there's not really a lot of foundation to what you're saying. That you can't just punch anything that's not cute.
No, I'm not saying you should punch it because it's not cute, but I'm saying it's a good reason to.
It's not a good reason to, though, is it?
I don't know. I'd love to know. Comment down below. Would you punch a fish in the face? I think it's a valid question.
Please don't comment that below.
I think it's a valid question.
Like what? Okay. We need to move. You need to move on because this is
fine.
The headline game on Ouch Potato.
It's time for a new addition to
Ben.
Yes?
Ben, what was that? Come on.
What was what?
That abomination of an intro.
That. Yeah, I got a little carried away on Fiverr. Check this one out as well.
Ben is so much cooler than Josh.
Okay, this needs to stop. This is not something that is going to be recurring in the podcast. I'm ending this right now.
Never say never. I mean, I thought it was pretty cool. That guy's awesome.
I know I don't edit this, but that is a disturbing noise to hear in my headset when I didn't expect it.
Well, I liked it. Anyway, I'm going to explain this now. It's a new addition to the podcast, as with pretty much everything we've been doing today. But it's a game where I read out 3 headlines to Josh, one of which is real. Josh doesn't know which is real. He's never heard these headlines, and he basically needs to guess which is real by asking me questions. I guess we'll just see how it goes. This could be very interesting, or I don't know. Let's just go.
So I think it'd be cool if some of the guys or girlies in the comment section, if you could suggest some if I manage to get it right, suggest some things that Ben has to do as like a penalty. Ooh. Or vice versa.
Well, this is new
maybe not necessarily we don't necessarily do it in the podcast, but we have to do it before the next podcast, and we can talk about it in the next podcast in the catch up as what you had to do as a penalty.
So hold on. So if you do you only get one guess?
Well, yes. One now.
Yeah, I can do that. So you ask as many questions as you want about all 3, but you only get one final guess. Oh, I like this.
I only decide which is the real one.
Yeah, so see what we're doing.
And then I either get it right or don't.
This is fluid, but we're just making it up on the spot. But yeah, so put comments telling punishments for either of us, because if Josh gets it wrong, obviously he has to do something. So
yeah.
Okay, shall we? Are you ready for the headlines then?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, great. So headline number 1. I feel like I should have some ominous music for this. Let's do that.
I mean,
let's do it. Here we go. You ready?
All right.
Headline number 1. Family pet saves newborn baby's life. Headline number 2. Popular confectionery brand Cadbury stops making chocolate. Number 3. Plane grounded after feces found in meal. There you go. That was the 3 questions. You can stop the ominous music now. That's done.
Okay, so I'm going to start with the first one then. So we've got family pet saves newborn baby's life.
Yes. I'm going to also point out that when you ask me a question, I may give a dramatic pause because I don't want you to think, well, he answered that quickly, so he obviously knew. You know what I mean? I'm going to let it...
Ben, I'm allowed to figure out whatever I want.
Oh, well, you do what you got to do.
This is me to... All right. So family pet. First of all, what's the pet?
It's a dog.
Okay, so it's a dog that has saved this newborn baby's life.
By the way, I want to point out I can't go too specific with any of these. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you can. That's the point.
Okay, sorry, carry on.
Because, I mean, I'm just figuring out if they're real or not. Because, you might simply not know much about it.
True, I haven't done that much research.
That's not my fault. So you need to tell me as much as you can truthfully. If you don't know something, you can't lie about the real one.
Can I just say, can I say if I don't know, I can just say I don't know?
Yeah, we've seen with the other ones.
Yeah,
you can say you don't know.
Of course, yeah.
But in future, Ben, do more research on that.
No, that sounds fine.
But anyway, so it's a dog that saved a newborn's baby life. What was the baby doing that was like it was in danger?
The baby was on the living room floor.
But what was it? Was it eating something or
crawling? Well, it was playing, kind of crawling.
Okay, but like what put the baby's life in danger?
The fireplace.
The fireplace. So potentially this dog has stopped the baby from going into the fire.
Correct.
Potentially. Okay, so all right, so let's go on to. I just want to get an overview of them first to see what feels like most. So for popular confectionery brand Cadbury starts making chocolate. See, this one's very vague as a headline, but one of these headlines is real. You're telling me, right?
One of them is real.
Okay, so this is probably one of the. This one's hard because I feel like one news place could make that their headline, but then they have to elaborate on it.
Right.
But maybe they stopped making chocolate for a week or so. Like, how long was it not making chocolate for?
Indefinitely.
Okay, well... okay.
That was quite ominous, wasn't it?
So you're telling me that Cadbury's has stopped... This headline is to say that Cadbury's has stopped making chocolate.
Yes.
Okay. So that one, I have least belief in. And then plane grounded after feces found in meal.
Yes.
Where were they flying from? What was the trip?
They were flying from LAX.
To where?
JFK.
Okay, interesting. And where did they land?
Sorry?
Where did they land? Where did they ground the plane?
Canada.
Ben, do you know that Canada is like further away than New York?
I have to say that was a very good question to ask.
Ben, you're gonna have to improve for the next game.
It's the first game, man. I'll get.
No, this is good. This is good. So I'm gonna keep asking. I mean, I think I have a pretty good suspicion of which one's right and which one's wrong.
It would have been good to answer that last question with, I don't know.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
So you've got to be tactical with, because the thing is, if you say I don't know too much, then it's obvious to me that it's not real because there's nothing to it.
True,
so you have to give me a certain amount. Yeah. So anyway, as far as I'm aware, like, plane is not going to be landing in Canada.
I don't know.
As far as I believe, the plane won't be landing in Canada. I don't dispute that this could happen. This headline, but Ben's lack of support.
Well, I just didn't research it, did I?
Ben's lack of support in this headline leads me to believe that this is false. But that's not my answer. My answer is only going to be the truth one. Okay, because technically I could say that one is false and still get that right, but still get it wrong.
I need to ask you a question though. Like, say I don't know the answer to a question.
Yeah.
And I just freestyle it. That could throw you off, and it could make you think it's not an article, correct?
Sure.
Okay, just checking.
But you can't tell any lies about the real one. That's just the rule.
Okay.
So that's how I can always like find my way.
Yeah, that's fair.
Through the crap. But yeah, so and then also Popular Confectionery ran Cadbury's. There's no way they're gonna start making chocolate. Like
Totally
and the fact that you told me that it was indefinite, it leads me to believe that that's completely false. I just can't see how Cadbury's would indefinitely stop making chocolate. So I'm going to go ahead and say that Family Pet Saves Newborn Baby's Life is the true headline.
Now we have to decide if you were right or wrong. Josh, I can tell you, you were wrong.
No way!
Yes!
No way! No, you did me in.
I did you in on the first game, 1-0 to Ben.
What happened? Where did I go wrong?
It wasn't the plain one. It was the Cadbury stops making chocolate.
No way!
Yes way.
What happened?
For some reason, I don't exactly know why. There's a water shortage in the UK right now, so they've like Cadbury's and Jaguar and Land Rover have had to stop work for we don't know how long till they can like sort out the water problem. I think it's
indefinitely is not.
They don't know when they can start again. It's indefinite.
I guess you're right.
Yeah. I was clickbaited by that story last night. I was like, no way are Cadbury stopping making chocolate, and I just got clickbaited hard.
I'm impressed.
You.
I'm impressed because you pulled it off. The Family Pet Saves. It's just too simple. And
yeah, when you start questioning that, I thought, my God, he knows already. This is rubbish.
But my issue is that I thought that you had chosen such a rubbish one for the real answer, and then you just made up two other ones.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so upset. Now I really want to do the next episode.
You nailed me with the where did they land? Because the minute I said Canada, I was like, I've just flown to New York. I know Canada is before New York and after New York from LAX. So I don't know what the hell was going on in my mind.
Yeah, that one tore apart.
But it's a very believable story.
That was believable, and I think with like a good amount of support, that you could have probably survived that one. But wow, okay, well there we go. That was the headline game, the first episode of it. Let us know what you guys think. 1-0 to Ben.
I have to ask as well, actually, like being a successful YouTuber as you are, how does it feel to be clickbaited?
It feels. I mean, I didn't really get clickbaited.
Kinda did.
It's interesting. I think to be honest with you, it got to the point where I was starting to doubt your ability to do this game. Ooh. So it made me. You tricked me into thinking you were not as good as you were. So that's
I'm a mastermind.
That's part of the issue with me. But don't worry. Next week I'm going to be pulling out all the stops. I'm going to be. I will not.
That's bold claims. So you're quite confident about next week's game.
Next week, I think that my questions will pull you apart. I'm not going to hold back next week.
Okay, and remember, everyone comment down below what Josh's forfeit has to be for getting it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Okay, well, that was the headline game. Now, every week, we have a main topic to discuss, and in this season, we want you, the listener, to have a say. So if you have any burning topics that you'd like to hear us discuss, make sure you hop on over to the YouTube channel if you're not already here, and leave them as a comment down below.
Yeah, so this topic is going to be like the main theme of our videos, like the main chunk of it, like the main thing that you guys contribute. This is probably going to be like the title, the thumbnail. This is like... and we obviously put it at the end of the podcast, so you guys watch the rest of it to get to the good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you guys are contributing basically the soul of the podcast episode, and that's what we're going to be discussing here today.
And obviously, you will get a shout out if we use your topic.
Yes.
So this week, because we didn't do an episode last week, I tweeted out, and _ Venus Doom on Twitter said that we should talk about fans, which is obviously quite a vague thing to talk about, but it got me thinking about fan culture and like celebrity, like what makes a celebrity these days, especially with like YouTube and stuff. And I guess in some senses, Josh, you are an online celebrity.
Well, it's an interesting topic to bring up, as I actually just read literally this morning about how the Oscars has had their worst viewings, like 25 million, like that. It's the worst amount of viewer turnout in the history of the Oscars.
Wow.
That might not be true. It might not be true going back to like the first Oscars ever, but like in the last significant amount of time, it has been the worst Oscars in terms of viewing on TV.
And why do you think that is?
Well, see, this is one of the things. It's like, it's an interesting, with the fan culture topic, is I think that like fan culture is like adapting, because like in the old days, like, I mean, I'm sure you grew up like, in terms of like media, like movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
A lot of people were like fans of like actors and stuff.
Oh, massively. Yeah.
But like, actors and stuff like that, they've always been notoriously unengaging.
Mm-hmm.
And you usually would only be able to engage with an actor by either like finding them on the street, reading about them in a magazine, or seeing them in their movies.
True. Yeah, very true.
And I think that like fan culture, it's like developing now to like where people want to be able to have more access to the people that they're interested in. Because I hate calling it like fans and like celebrities and stuff. I just think it's more about like, like someone who people find interesting and who create content, and that creates like this large base of fans that are interested in that person. Now, like the thing is like the way that the world's going with like, with the idea of YouTube and stuff, we are way more accessible. I mean, listen to people. I'm sure that a lot of people that listen to this podcast right now are fans of my YouTube channel. And that's really interesting, because it's like, this is another way that I'm interacting with people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just interesting how like the culture of fans are changing. And that's like, in my opinion, at least, that's mirroring in like things like the Oscars, where celebrities who aren't as integrated and accessible are like dying out.
Yeah. It's true. I was one of the Uber drivers in New York was asking me what I do for a living. So I told him, and he said, it's crazy. Like nowadays, a YouTuber could be 10 times more famous than a famous actor. And it's like, wow, that is actually true. And I think it is down to accessibility, like you say. I mean, look at us, for example. Like I started talking to Jelly. Before I talked to Jelly, I was not a fan, but I watched you guys race together on GTA. I enjoyed watching the videos, and then now I'm here beating you in headline games. Do you know what I mean? Like I've gone from someone who watched your videos to now making content with you. It's you've never really had that with an actor, which is why I find it interesting when people like Kevin Hart or The Rock or whatever, try to branch away from, well, not away from acting, but trying to tap in to the YouTube scene. And it's something to me. I enjoy watching that stuff, but it kind of doesn't feel right. Do you know what I mean? They don't feel like they should be on the platform.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Like, I feel like these types of actors, like, I don't see many new ones arriving. Like, these mainstream actors, like, we're not getting new ones.
Yep.
So they're going to start, like, dying out, and the new ones just aren't coming into the roles anymore. And some of them are attempting to, like, dial back and use those different means of like interacting, but that's not going to last forever.
That's true.
And it's going to get to the point where like the kids are growing up without being able to watch films with like Kevin Hart in and stuff like that, and they're not going to be relevant to them anymore. And there's not going to be the new actors like filling those roles, so because they're just like, a lot of the movies nowadays are still just employing older actors.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not many breakthroughs in the movie world now. And I think that's what's going to happen, is it's going to transition into like these like more casual influences. I think that movies are going to start integrating actors more into their movies, where the actor is more connected to the movie. The advertising is more based around them. Because you've seen it, like a lot of movies recently have been like taking the actors and then getting them to go on promo tours.
Yes. To
be in content on YouTube, be in like adverts.
So. Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen more, is where the actor it's no longer acting that people need to do.
That's
you need influencers to be in films, not actors.
What do you make of YouTubers who try and branch into films? Because I think people immediately think just because they're successful on YouTube, that somehow makes them an actor. Do you know what I mean?
I'm sure that there are people that can do both, but I don't think that one basically gives you. I think YouTube is very different to acting.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Well,
strangely, yes and no, actually, because I'm sure, as you know, almost everyone on YouTube, what you see on YouTube is a character. Do you know what I mean?
But almost always, it's an exaggerated version of themselves.
True.
Acting requires you to remove yourself and be someone else.
True.
Whereas, like, I can't see many YouTubers who aren't at least some version of themselves still.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like even like the most bizarre YouTubers in the world, it's still grounded in their personality.
That's true. Well,
at least as far as I believe.
We've actually gone completely off topic. Well, kind of off topic. We've gone off on tangents. Going back to the original topic, I'd be interested to know like your views on fan culture. So like, you know, like, I don't know about you personally, but I know like Geordie has had a lot of people come up to his house and knock on his door and stuff, which he hates and stuff. Like, I'm trying to think where that ever came. I guess that's probably also to do with the reachability of a YouTuber, because obviously if you do any sort of vlogging around where you live, it's quite easy to find out where you live. And
see, that's one of the things I was thinking about actually, is that there's a weirder gap where YouTubers, for example, like when a person's like in a movie and they become famous from a movie, they've probably made millions to the point where they get to the point where people are like turning up at their doorstep.
Yeah.
So they have like a slightly different lifestyle, where a lot of YouTubers can have huge audiences and still be living a relatively normal lifestyle, like a non-celebrity lifestyle. So that makes, I think that's one of the things that like is a bit weird with the fan culture at the moment, because that like basically makes these YouTubers in a weird position where they're supposed to be more famous than they are.
Right. Yeah.
Or supposed to be living a more famous lifestyle than they are. Mm-hmm. And I think that like plays into it. How
do you feel? Like literally a couple of days ago, we because of course we like Amber and my friend who doesn't know, Amber and me, we do vlogs every now and again. We hadn't done it for a long time, but obviously because we were getting engaged, we filmed it and that went up. So we thought, well, why don't we maybe try doing a bit of vlogging while we're out? So we went out and we went to this restaurant in the city, and we got sat in a booth, and I had my it was a Sony camera with a gorilla put on it, so it was quite obvious. So I put it down on the table, just you know, to sit down and eat. And there was this booth next to us full of kids, like probably like 10 to 13-year-olds. And instantly they swung around and they were like staring at me and staring at the camera like, oh my God, he must be like a big YouTuber or something, which I'm not in the slightest. But do you know what? I thought I would have loved that, but I felt really uneasy. Like I couldn't wait for them to leave because they wouldn't stop, just keep turning around to see if I was going to vlog or doing it. It was really off-putting. How do you find the whole fan thing?
I for some reason I think I'm really good at it, like dealing with it. I very rarely have any problems. People are very are pretty cool around me, like and like quite respectful. There's been a few times where I've been like, you know what, like I'm doing something personally, but at the same time, it's in this weird place right now where I can't really expect anything less from these people, because of, you know, they're more interested in than experiencing something they never experienced ever again, which is like, you know, seeing me.
Yeah.
So it's a weird thing. I'm not totally sure how I feel about it. I've at the moment, and the size I am on YouTube, I don't have like a huge issue with it. So pretty much like I don't really get crowded too much unless I'm with like Geordie and Jelly and we're in like a busy area. But in my like personal life, I don't really have too much of an issue with it. I do bump into quite a few amount of people, but they're all very cool, and like easygoing.
Do you get it? Do you get why they're? I mean, have you ever fanboyed over anyone? Or
I've never been a fan of anything really, like in that sense. Yeah, so it's not something that I've really experienced.
Do you understand why they're excited?
I understand why they're excited. I get that. Like it's a simple case of like you know not thinking that you're ever gonna be able to see this person ever again, or like. But the one thing that I find bizarre with like fan culture these days though is that like you explained it yourself, you experienced it. People are getting into a position now where they're hyped to see you just because they think you are a YouTuber.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is like another bizarre thing. Like a lot of my early days when Geordie and Jelly were a lot bigger than me, we would go to conventions and I had a decent amount of subs, but like a lot of people were there for Geordie and Jelly, and some of them just had no idea who I was at the time.
Did that bother you?
Because I was there. No, it didn't bother me, but because I was there, I was a huge deal.
Right.
To them. And I don't think that would be something that happens in like more mainstream media. I think that's more of like something that's evolved recently.
It's weird because we come from two different outlets. Because you just said you've never fanned over anything. I am one of the biggest fanboys ever. I fanboy over everything.
But you know, it's weird because I think that people are growing up more these days with that like this different way of being a fan of things. Like I know that, like I feel like when I grew up, like a lot of my friends and a lot of people, they weren't really a big fan of things. I think that like you grew up through like an era where there was like a big fan culture for the type of thing you were interested in, and I think it like died down a little bit. And now with like the new thing about YouTube, it's like roaring again with like, you know, like most kids. Like I went back to, I don't know if I mentioned in a previous podcast, but a few months ago I went back to my school, and like almost every kid in the class knew who I was.
That's awesome.
But if I put myself back into that classroom, I don't think there was ever one thing that I was like everyone in the class was a fan of.
Yeah.
You know, there was like 5 or 6 or 7 different things that people are interested in. Like we were interested in games, like other groups were interested in other things. Like whereas like nowadays, like it seems like it's uniting more kids to have a group interest in YouTube, and then people have their particular interest within YouTube. I
actually found I think I've coined as fanning by association. Like obviously I get loads of like Slogo Man fan accounts follow me on Instagram and stuff, and every now and again I'll follow one back, you know. And one did an Instagram live thing the other day, so I just popped in just to see. They lost their shit when I came in, like, and I'm not.
Yeah,
famous.
I mean, who are you?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Honestly, though, who am I? Like, do you know what I mean? It's just because I know you, and you know, it's like they went nuts just because. And it's like that's crazy. They're even fanning over someone just because I'm friends with you. It's like wow, man. It's,
but yeah, so anyway, like not to like make ourselves sound like.
Oh no, not at all. No.
But it's more of an interesting thing because it's like interesting for us. Like it's like I love making content for people, and for the people that are watching. And it's interesting you bring it up because it's an interesting topic for basically people who in my position to like figure out how to interact with the fans in like a respectful way that isn't the way that, you know, people have been doing it for a long time, which is like distancing themselves and just drip feeding information. I think it's really cool. We're living in an age now where us as YouTubers can like fully interact with our viewers in a very direct form, and I think it's like really refreshing. And I think that's what people who enjoy our content really enjoy, is the fact that they can feel involved in our lives almost to a certain extent.
I want to finish with one thing. You know the old phrase, like let's say for example, like you went out and a fan came up to you and like, oh Josh, and you just completely ignored them, and they would say on Twitter like, you know, if it wasn't for us, you wouldn't be where you are now. What are your views on that? I'm just intrigued.
In what context am I ignoring them?
Well, I mean, not so much, forget that ignoring part, but how much weight do you put in the whole, if it wasn't for your fans who watch your stuff, you wouldn't be where you are now?
Oh, I don't by any extent believe that, like, because of my fans, my personal life should be, like, affected.
Right.
Some YouTubers don't want to be, like, cross their personal lives in with their YouTube stuff, and if you can respect that, you should respect that. I mean, YouTubers can't, if they want to put themselves online, they should expect the worst.
I was going to say, isn't it a classic case of you've picked this as a living? You surely would have known if you got successful, you were going to get. But like the optimist
in me is like, fans should be smart enough to respect what they want. I mean, the realist in me is like, I mean, that's just, if you don't want that, then don't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And which is why I'm like generally like, I think that I'm good enough at keeping myself private to the extent I want, and I think that my fans enjoy what I put out there, and I think it's at like a good balance right now. I know it gets harder the bigger you get, but I know that it's something that is as much on the YouTuber as it is the fans sometimes.
So basically, when we hit 10 mil subs with Ouch Potato, we're going to be in real trouble.
Hopefully.
Okay, great. Well, that is it for this week's episode. It's good to be back, and don't forget, if you want us to discuss a specific topic, then leave your suggestions.
Ben, you screwed up the outro.
Oh, damn it!
Just keep going though. Okay. Don't keep going. You can recover from here.
I could just cut the whole thing out and start again.
No, Ben.
I wouldn't do that.
Ben, you have to stick with it. I know that the podcast is going to be a lot more structured now. There's a lot more effort going into it, but sometimes you just have to go for it.
I'm a purist. I'm not going to cut it out. So here we go. So if you do have anything that you want us to discuss, drop it as a comment down below if you're on the YouTube channel. If you're not on the YouTube channel, then come over to the YouTube channel.
Beautiful, Ben. Look at that.
Thanks.
That was perfect. So yeah, make sure to keep in contact with us, guys, because that's what keeps this podcast alive.
That's true. And if you see Josh out in the street, hopefully he won't ignore you. I mean, yeah.
You can only hope.
But okay, guys, we will see you next week. Take it easy, I guess. Anything to say, Josh, or are we good?
No, I need a wee.
Okay, well, have fun. I'll see you next week.
You've been listening to the Ouch Potato Podcast. Subscribe now.